I'm going to pray for you in just a moment. But this whole COVID-19 thing, this whole pandemic that has swept the earth, people have been taking occasion for it. And it's interesting now that certain types of things during this time are being rolled out. They're being presented. They're being shown. They're being demonstrated. I want you to pay attention to two things real quickly. And I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to let you go. But I need you to see this before we close tonight. And I'm going to show it again tomorrow in a greater context. But I want you real quickly to pay attention to this. I want you to get clip number one. I want you to get clip number one, if you can play it real quickly. Pay attention to this. I know it's late. I know it's late, but listen. You're going to wish you didn't miss this. And if you stay with me now, you may not miss what I'm talking about. So I want you to pay attention to something.
The company in Wisconsin offering employees microchips to replace ID badges. It's hosting a chip day party to implant the devices in the employees.
We all know people complain that their companies treat them like machines. Well, 3 Square Market is sticking it to their folks today using these needles. Now, let me show you first what this microchip looks like. It is about the size of a grain of basmati rice. So Patrick here is the CIO. Andy is a licensed body piercer. So let it rip. We're going to see this now.
I got it.
Good. Needle is in. Chip is in.
Bingo.
Not very much blood at all. Patrick, how'd it feel?
Better than get my wisdom teeth out.
Okay, and you're still conscious.
Yeah, I'm great.
Melissa got chipped yesterday, but you had to be talked into doing this. How long did it take you to say yes to this?
I was a little hesitant at first, but I had 7 days to think about it. And once I learned the facts, there was no question in my mind.
Go ahead, Steve. They can buy their goodies here in the break room by just using their hand. Real quickly, he's going to get a Kit Kat bar. And it's paid for $1.06, guys. So the question again, as we asked you last week, are you ready to be chipped, guys? Let's send it back to you.
Interesting that this technology has been around for a while. It's being rolled out now. Now I want you to see something else relative to COVID-19, relative to this pandemic. And see, pay attention now, because what's being said now is, see, remember, first, COVID-19 was a serious thing. And I'm not saying it's not, there's not some malady or malfunction. I'm not suggesting that. It's real if you've been diagnosed with whatever it is. But first they said, it was highly contagious, you have to be careful. Then, now, you can have it with no symptoms. So if you have it with no symptoms, how do you know you have it? So now you can be asymptomatic and contagious. You can be contagious with a lot of things you don't know you have. But now, because of a global pandemic, now everyone has to be tested. And what they're attempting to do is rolling out a test now, so you're convinced that even though you don't have any symptoms and you don't have anything, you may have it. We need to test you to see if you have it or if you don't have it. Now, how do you know what's being put in you when they test you? Because you don't have any symptoms. And most vaccines actually are the injection of a part of the disease that you are being vaccinated to fight. So they introduce it into your system so that you can begin to build up a resistance to it. So when it actually comes, you already have antibodies. And you don't know what's being injected into you, but now we all have to be vaccinated. And once everybody gets vaccinated, there'll be a list of people who are vaccinated and people who are not vaccinated. And if you're not vaccinated, you won't be COVID-19 friendly. So there may be places you won't be able to go that people who have either had COVID-19 or have been vaccinated with COVID-19 can go. There may be things you can't buy that other people get. There may be flights you can't take. See, you say, well, Bishop Mc Clendon, what are you doing? You know what I'm doing? Thinking. You know what I'm doing? Not just galloping with the gang. You know what I'm doing? Listening to my spirit, indwelled by the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm doing? Not believing a delusion. Now watch this. I'm almost done. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to quit. Play clip number 3 real quick. I want you to see something.
Law enforcement stepping up their use of surveillance. Law enforcement stepping up their use of surveillance technology during the coronavirus pandemic. Supporters say new technology could help slow the spread of the virus, while critics say they're worried about privacy concerns. Brett Larson is here with more. Brett, I wrestle with this. I go back and forth in how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the technology, but also a little worried.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I stand as well. It's cool to see so much technology, as we've seen time and again throughout this pandemic. Technology's really been able to step in and help law enforcement, help contact tracing. In this instance, we've seen Elizabeth, New Jersey, Daytona, Florida. They're both using these drones to enforce these social distancing guidelines. And when you think about it, it makes sense. You don't have to send officers in, and you could potentially put them in harm's way. From a privacy standpoint, though, now you've got drones flying around with cameras on them that could be taking pictures of people. It could be doing facial recognition scanning to see if anybody is, out and about who shouldn't be, who maybe has violated the law. So there's a very fine line.
Fever, coughing, heart rate, and social distancing. From the air, the drone can tell whether you have a fever. The drone will be able to tell your heart rate. The drone will be able to identify you as someone who is practicing social distancing or not. Why does anyone need that information? Can you keep it playing now?
There's a very fine line to walk here with all of this use of technology as we continue to talk about it.
Yeah, and take a listen to this. It's Cameron Shell talking about how this was really what the technology was built for.
The positive feedback and response from public safety agencies all over the country. Their response and concern for having real-time data on population health so that they can make effective decisions to protect the public is exactly what this technology was built for.